is that you continue to get back up and do it. So if you miss a day, that's fine. Build that muscle of getting back up. On today's episode of the Emotional Fitness Podcast, we're going to talk about how to build emotional grit. This is inspired from a study that I found. This study was done at the University of Pennsylvania, and they were talking about how people became successful and what separated people. So when they looked into the study, it was not money, it wasn't education, it wasn't background or where people were from that made them successful. It was actually one thing: perseverance or emotional grit. And so what is grit? Well, grit is to be able to withstand pain and continue to move forward in your goal, in pursuit of something that you want. So in today's episode, I'm going to give you 5 ways to build emotional grit, and I'm actually going to throw a bonus one at the end. So to start, number 1 is finding your why. This is critically important because that why can separate you from a huge amount of people in any field you're in, whether it's in a relationship or especially on a sports team. Finding your why is that inner drive. Typically, it's a deep emotion that you want to feel, and that will drive you and move you forward. My why is to be able to help pull the best out of people and to help them realize that they are more than they are right now, and then they can become more by putting in work and by finding those gifts and bringing them to the light. That's my why. Finding your why will help you move through those challenging times. So I'm going to stress this, that typically an emotional response is with that why, or is an emotion attached to that why. Think of any memory that you've had when you were a kid that was really powerful. Normally, there's an emotion attached to that. And so when you attach emotion, a strong enough emotion to that why, your brain, your subconscious mind will really do everything it can and use its reticular activating system to help you accomplish that and to give you that emotional grit. So that's finding your why. I will say that can take some time, but in search of your why, you will definitely eliminate things that are not your why and help you move forward in this. Number 2 is, once you understand your why, set a goal. Setting a goal of any type, even if you don't know your why, setting a goal will help your brain, help your reticular activating system say that this is important, help you achieve it. It'll find ways to help you get it. Again, the example of if you've ever bought a new vehicle and after notice how many of those same vehicles are out there, that's your reticular activating system. That's why doing this is so important. And how does this help you build emotional grit? Because it helps you see that there is opportunity out there, that there is good things out there, and that you can have this thing, whatever it may be. And when you have that end goal, it helps you during the low times because it's a focus, it's a focal point, something that you can move towards. With that, it also gives you hope, which is massive. When you look at anybody that's overcome extremely brutal human behavior of any kind, hope was always the one thing that made them hold on. And so that's the purpose of setting a goal, not only to help your brain get there, and as you take those steps you're going to build some momentum and build some confidence, but it's holding on to that hope that still can happen for you. So setting a goal is massive in being able to withstand the turbulence that comes our way in life and to help you build emotional grit. The third one, this is one of my absolute favorites because it is so underrated and most people don't do this. I call this your SDAs, small daily actions. Small daily actions that you can do that make you a better person, that you can do that help you move towards your goal, that you can do to help you achieve what you want in this world or become the person that you want to be. They don't have to be these outrageous things that take you hours and hours and hours every day. For example, if you're in a fitness journey, a small daily action might be parking further away. than you normally do to work. Taking the stairs, waking up 10 minutes early and do some sort of exercise. Small daily action. Typically these are under 15 minutes. For myself, I have a few. My cold showers every morning. Why do I do that? Because it helps me build that grit. It helps me persevere and helps me to know that I can take on challenges and accomplish them. Exercising every morning is huge. Being able to compound that up. So if you are in a relationship and you're trying to move forward in it, what's some small daily action you can take to help build that? If you're on a team, if you're an athlete and you're wanting to further your career or your team, what is a small daily action that takes 10 to 15 minutes that you can do to help your team move forward? I talk about this lots with the football kids. Is if you're a receiver, go get 100 catches. If you're a defensive lineman, work off getting off blocks. If you are a quarterback, go through reads more, go through your steps. Do anything big or do anything small that can help you become a better player, a better athlete, because when you add that up, and this with any daily action, it's something small right now, but just like the compound effect, you really don't notice it the first few weeks, but if you continue to do it and continue to do it, the back 25% is where you're going to get all those results. So a small daily action. This also helps bring a huge amount of confidence because you're consistently doing these things. And that leads me to point 4. Point 4 is consistency. Nothing builds grit like consistency, big or small. Consistency with how you're eating, consistency with your learning or your education, consistency with showing up on time, consistency with any goal, anything big or small that you've set in your life. This will help you have emotional grit. Why? Because when life hits you and maybe you don't make that team, you can fall back on, well, at least I'm doing this. I am doing everything I can and staying consistent in that. Consistency, however, doesn't mean that you're doing it, that you never miss a day or that you never miss a week. Consistency means, and yes, I know by definition it means you don't, but hear me out, is that you continue to get back up and do it. So if you miss a day, that's fine. Build that muscle of getting back up. And to be honest, there's more to be said about that than just doing it like a robot every day. So get back up and do it again. If you've missed a week from the gym and you're upset about it, get back up and have that consistency as best as you can, and that'll build that grit to get back up, even if you haven't been the best partner. Start over. You can do that. I've done that before, beating myself up. You can start over again. Because if you don't stop, you can't lose. And so even if it's down the road later, get back up and continue. So point 4 there again is consistency. Even if you take a day off or a week off, come back to it. Build that muscle of getting back up. Number 5. This is one of my ultimate favorite because I'm so bad at doing it, but it has so much power when you do allow this to happen in your life. And it's based off of research and discussions from Dr. Andrew Huberman. He talks about celebrating your milestones. And Tony Robbins talks about this as well, is that when we hit a milestone, so let's say you've been going to the gym for 2 weeks and you've never done that before and you don't celebrate it, even though you feel good on the inside, it tells your brain to not feel happy. And you can't feel happy all the time. When in reality, you can feel happy more often than you probably aren't. So when you celebrate those milestones, however, and you actually feel good for that, maybe you start to make changes personally that you haven't before, even if it was just day 1 and you celebrate it, or day 30, or day 100, or day 200, it doesn't matter what it is, big or small. Celebrate it, because when you celebrate that win, it releases dopamine in your brain, or you release dopamine to your brain. That dopamine makes you feel good and excited, which is then turned into epinephrine, which then turns into adrenaline, which gives you energy. That energy now you can use to continue. You can use to push through and to persevere through those waves and through that turbulence that life hits you, because it will. I promise you, it will hit you. But if you celebrate those wins, it gives you the energy and the dopamine to move through that, and it celebrates and allows you to feel good for making those small steps. This is something that, like I said, I've suffered from in the past where I didn't, and I know a lot of people do that. I help a lot of people that haven't in the past, but as soon as they started celebrating those wins and they stay consistent with it, even if their consistency isn't robotically every day, but they're continuing to get back up, it builds on itself, right? It's just like that little snowball rolling down the hill. Initially it's small and it's just a little bit, but if it continues to roll and you continue to push, even if it stops for a little bit, you continue to push it. Once you've got back on it, it will grow. So celebrate your wins. Allow yourself to feel good. Allow yourself to feel joy. Allow yourself to feel happiness, peace, excitement, even if it's small. If you're trying to build a social media presence and you go from 10 followers to 20, that's amazing. Feel good. If you had more views, feel good. If you just got a little bit of a pay raise, or you did a really good job at something, or maybe it was just you accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish in that day, feel good. Allow yourself to feel those feelings, that excitement, and to enjoy it. Just know that you will have more to come. You know that. But allow yourself to feel it, because you're going to get that energy to then help you move to the next thing that you want. This last one, so that was 5 ways to build emotional grit. This last one here is a bonus one, and I call this the funeral test. So if you were to die today, let's say after listening to this is your last moments here on earth, and how do you want to be remembered? If you were to die today, how would you want to be remembered? What would you want people to say about you at your funeral? Would you want them to say how they just miss you and how you were there for them sometimes, and this isn't trying to say anything bad with anybody? Or would you want them to say that you put everything you could into the things that matter to you? That you were somebody that inspired, that you were somebody that chased what you wanted and thought was important viciously and relentlessly? Are you somebody that wants people to say that you loved passionately and that you cared about people and that you were driven and that you would persevere, and somebody that other people would look up to and could learn from? Because if you can be that person, well, now the effect you have on this world, instead of your bubble here, can radiate into a much bigger one. And I'll leave you with this, and it's a wonderful quote from the movie Gladiator. Is what we do in this life will echo in eternity. It was Maximus that said that in the movie. And it got me thinking, because I watched the second one recently, about how important that is for me. And if you do the funeral test, it'll give you that motivation, because if you're not doing those things right now and you were to die, what would people say? Would you want that echo to ring on for a generation or 2 generations or 3 generations? And so I will leave you with that. How do you want to be remembered? Because when you think about it, all of us want to be remembered. And so to build that emotional grit, to have emotional grit, keep that in the back of your mind. It's that being remembered will push you through and can push you through and help you persevere to doing that. So thank you so much for listening. As I mentioned, those are the 5 ways plus that bonus one to build emotional grit. If you're like this, please subscribe, because why not? Why not learn more about this stuff as I learn in this journey I'm on? And if you can, share it with a couple people. The gift of sharing is so underrated, and will allow more people to hear the message that maybe they need to hear, and bring more people to change in their lives, because listening to videos like this is what changed my life, and that's why I'm doing this. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe, share, and if you want, you can go to our Life Purposely website. You can look at the newsletter there, sign up for it. Lots of changes coming there, so I'm really excited for that, but I'll leave you with that. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.